This week at the NCPA has been in the news. President and CEO Alan West talked with Neil Cavuto about the inquiries into IRS dealings.
It doesn't matter whether it's Democrat or Republican, you're not above the law. And let's always remember that Richard Nixon stepped down basically over breaking and entering to a campaign office. Now we're talking about a federal government agency with the power of taxation that was aimed against American people, American citizens, and we cannot allow that to stand.
And on Fox Business Network's Varney and Company.
To say that you're going to send 50 special operators into Syria, a Syria where you have Russia that is operating with ground troops and also air cover, Cuban Special Operations Forces, Iranian Quds Forces, and also Hezbollah, and you're just going to send 50 special operators in to fight against ISIS? This is insane.
NCPA research and experts were featured in 2 Forbes columns, townhall.com and One News Now. The Street cited what they called a seminal study by the NCPA on the flat tax and cited additional NCPA research in a sequel story. From Washington, NCPA Legislative Director Brian Williams reports on a number of stormy debates in Congress.
It's a busy week in Washington this week. The House of Representatives is choosing a new speaker, and Congress is working on a budget deal that will increase spending in the short term and pay for it years down the road. I just came back from a Senate Banking Committee hearing where a bunch of community bankers are up on Capitol Hill pleading for some relief from the Dodd-Frank financial regulations. You see, community banks have to comply with many of the same regulations that larger, too-big-to-fail banks are forced to comply with. But the problem is community banks are so small they can't afford the regulations. So a lot of community banks are spinning off or consolidating, and since Dodd-Frank went into effect, only 2 new banks have even been formed, and that's very devastating to small communities. NCPA's Financial Crisis Initiative is looking at that issue, and we'll have a lot of work to do with that in the near future.
And we published a new congressional brief outlining ways to better support and expand international trade. We distributed 4 new videos from the NCPA's Financial Crisis Initiative that help explain how to avoid another financial crash. Your support makes all of this important work possible. Thank you from America's Think Tank.